Hey, come aboard. Hi guys, welcome aboard the Happy Time. So today we're going to be going over our safety gear that is required by U.S. Coast Guard regulations and is also just a good idea to have on board because you never know when something might go wrong out in the ocean. And when it does, you want to be prepared. So we're going to make sure that we got all our safety gear, that it's easily accessible, and it's all up to date and in working order. All right guys, let's get to it. This video is definitely not a safety guide. It's only intended to show you my process. Check with the Coast Guard for the regulations and requirements of your local area. So we're going to start out by looking at our immersion suits. These are our last line of defense in the event that we have to abandon ship for whatever reason. Could be a fire, could be taken on water, could be capsized. It's hard to say. So when the order comes to abandon ship and there's nothing else to do, this is your last line of defense. So you want to make sure that it's in good working condition and quickly and easily accessible. That's pretty key as well. So this is the suit. It's a mostly foam waterproof suit that is supposed to keep you warm even in really cold water, which is important because our water are going to be somewhere between 38 and 54 degrees, which is really cold. Even if you're near shore and the weather's perfect, the water's flat, you're not going to be swimming to the beach. You're going to need one of these to survive. So one of the things you want to do is always want to examine the creases, make sure that they're in good working order, that there's no tears, rips, because you really need this to be waterproof. Otherwise you're going to get leaks and your body's just going to get too cold and you'll succumb to hypothermia. So I'm just kind of doing a cursory exam because I've already done this recently, but I just wanted to show you guys kind of what it's all about. So when we feel like we've examined all the creases sufficiently, then we'll move on to the zipper. This is a waterproof zipper. It's pretty hard to operate. It's not like a zipper on a coat where you can do it one-handed. It takes a full, see these got these handles here, it takes a full amount of effort to open and close it. And so when you are examining the zipper, you make sure it works all the way up to the top. Ordinarily, we take a stick of zipper wax and we'd work it into all these, all the grooves in the zipper. But I actually did that yesterday because I filmed this video yesterday, but then it turned out that my mic hadn't been working, so there was no sound. We leave it a little bit zipped up, which just helps you get started, because if you actually have to use this suit, you're going to have to do it really quickly. It's going to be bad weather, there's going to be a fire, something really stressful is going to be happening. We also have here a whistle for signaling rescuers, and a mirror, a signaling mirror, if it's sunny out. And then if it's dark, we have this strobe light, which we've actually want to replace the batteries on, which I did yesterday. I also always write down the date I replaced them on, just so there's never any question if they're recently been replaced. And the light works. Probably hard to see, but if it was night, it'd be a lot brighter. And that'll just help whoever is coming to rescue you find you. The ocean's a big place, and it's not as easy to see someone in there as you think. So we roll it up in a nice tight bundle, making sure that it's easily accessible. And then we put it back in its case so that we can drop it on deck really fast and get in it. And I'm actually going to do a drill where I practice donning my survival suit to see how fast I can get in it. And that's a good practice to do at least a couple times a year, probably more often, because they're actually fairly hard to get into quickly. They're just clumsy. It's like putting on a spacesuit without any help. So we'll give that a try at the end of this video. So let's look at our other required safety gear. This is our flare kit. And so we're required to have a certain amount and variety of flares, depending on how far offshore you're operating. I'll be operating up to 20 miles offshore. So I have to have 3 different kinds of flares. And they all have different expiration dates. So you really have to check them at the beginning of every year to make sure that you're in compliance. If you're not in compliance, it could be a ticket, or you could be sent back to port, which would be extra expense, and you could lose fishing time. And if anything happens and the Coast Guard's coming to rescue you, you're going to need signaling devices, and you're going to want to make sure they work. And they're often going to be flying a helicopter into terrible conditions, so the least you can do is comply with the regulations. So let's see what we have. We have 3 of these canisters, which are a smoke distress signal. So you pop the top of these and they'll emit a disgusting pink smoke, but that'll be visible for miles. So these are good until April of 2026. So I got another year and a half or so, well, another year out of these. So that's good. So then we have a parachute red rocket flare. So these will actually shoot up to 1,000 feet, according to this description on them. So unscrew this and pull, and these are good until March of 2027. So I got 2 years out of these. So you have to have 3 of those, and 3 of these. And these are good until December 2026. Actually, I think you have to have 4 or 5 of these. And I do have a brand new bag of these. There's 3 in a bag. And I have them up in my car. So I just don't have them on board. But those will definitely be going on board before I go out in the boat. And then we also have these alcohol screening kits, so that if you ever have an accident, there's any question that you might have been under the influence, you can open one of these and spit on it, and then it'll tell you what your blood alcohol concentration is. So these actually expire pretty frequently, so I always got to get new ones right before I go fishing. And so that's expired, so I'll definitely add a new one before I go out. So that's the distress signal kit. I'm going to put these away, and I'll show you some of our other safety features on board. This here is my EPIRB. It's an emergency transponder that's set up so that it automatically activates in the event that it's submerged, seriously submerged underwater. And that'll help rescuers find your vessel in case you haven't had time to make a distress call, or you made a distress call and you had to abandon ship and you're not able to reestablish radio contact. And this is set up with a canister here that automatically breaks free, that pops, this canister, if it's submerged to a certain depth, will pop off, and that will allow this to float to the surface, which should hopefully be near you. Ideally, in a bad situation, you'd have enough time to grab your EPIRB and bring it with you on your life raft so that rescue can find you quicker. And so these have to be kept up to date. And so it's a good thing I checked this, because it looks like I need a new hydrostatic release. That's what this is called. Fortunately, my battery is up to date and good to go. So that's been taken care of. So let's move on to the life raft. This here is our life raft. It's in a canister. It will inflate if this cord is pulled or if it is submerged. So it is good through January 2026, because I just had it repacked this winter. And there's also this hydrostatic release, which if it's submerged, this will blow, and then that will allow this strap to come off, and the canister will float out of the cradle. And also it will free it from its attachment on the cradle, the painter line here. Ideally, if you have to abandon ship, you're going to lift it out of the cradle yourself and throw it overboard while holding onto this cord. And then as it impacts the water, it will hopefully poof up, and then you'll have a life raft that's suitable for 4 people. This is sort of a, last ditch effort, if you have to abandon ship. So hopefully something you never need, but if you do need it, you really need it. And that's all good to go. And this life raft is my for fun life raft, though I've found it useful sometimes when I've had trouble getting a spare part or something that I needed. I've used it to run to town and pick up some spares from friends at the dock. But mostly I just use it for going on picnics or going hunting or something like that. It's fun to have on board. I got it on a little davit so that I can just raise it and lower it by hand by myself, even though it's pretty heavy. So that's cool. I hope you found this behind-the-scenes look at the Happy Times safety equipment at least a little bit interesting. And I also hope that you'll join me on my future adventures by hitting the like or subscribe button. Until next time, I hope you have smooth sailing and calm waters.